Hello, lovely peoples. I am Michelle. This is my wheelchair Betty, and you're watching Rules NYC. And today we're going to talk about stuff. And it's going to be about the time they tried to force me into a nursing home. Alright, I can get through this story. It's not that I don't want to tell the story, because obviously I'm telling it. No one's forcing me to tell the story. I think it's an important story to tell, but is it a topic that I like revisiting? No. Is it something that kind of still haunts me a little bit to this day? Yes. So if you follow the show, you know that my brain often or sometimes has problems processing things in real time, and there's a delay in processing things. Sometimes it's not at all. My brain's like, pow, 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 what's up, people? I'm the brain, processing in real time, feeling good about myself. It's a good day. And sometimes it's a little minor delay, sometimes minor delay, and then every once in a while, though not so much these days, a more severe delay. So yeah, at the time I was living in an apartment that was not wheelchair accessible, so I needed to find a new home. I needed to go from Medicare HMO, what I had at the time rather, to straight Medicare, because Medicare HMO would not cover the wheelchair. Basically, the HMO that I had at the time basically would give you a wheelchair if you're paralyzed and couldn't get out of bed. But as long as you can get out of bed, you didn't, quote, need a wheelchair, whereas straight Medicare, you could get a wheelchair. So I had to figure that out. And then my brain went, and I had this, well, not like, didn't make that noise, because that would have been like, uh-oh, call a doctor. And then I had a severe medical setback. You know, my body was under a lot of physical stress because I had no choice but to walk around my apartment, and I was limping very slowly. A lot of times I would just fall down because walking all the time wasn't always an option anymore, and that's where things are at. So if you are on Medicaid, they will give you a caseworker. That seems to be from my understanding. If you're on Medicare, you don't get a caseworker, not by default. What you can do is find a social worker who takes your insurance. So I ended up going to this one person who said, yes, not only am I a therapist, but I also have experience, people with disabilities, and I can help you out. I want to help you out. And see, now I know, processing disorders, that's a thing. They're pretty fucking common. Back in the day, I thought I had this rare brain. I was the only person who had this, and I didn't know that it was a processing disorder because I know that was a thing. And so I thought I had like amnesia. Like everyone thought I had amnesia. I was forgetting things, which is not the case. I was not forgetting things. I just don't always process it and come up with the answer in real time. So, you know, I basically, when I saw her, I just broke down and started crying because she was talking to me. I was struggling to process what she was saying. I was struggling to like answer her, and you know, and so she's like, "Okay, don't worry, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you." She did help me, and in ways she helped me. In ways she fucked shit up. It was one of those things. On one hand, like when I went to my neurologist at the time that I had, she'd come with me. Yay! But when she did that, the doctor and the social worker would talk to each other about me, but never include me in the conversation, like I wasn't even in the room. Nay. Nay. I don't know why we're going all old school here, but whatever. She and the neurologist arranged for VNS, which is Visiting Nurse Services, come to my home. And that did provide me with a home health aide who helped me. Well, basically, she didn't help me. She cleaned up my apartment and kept it tidy, and also helped me with any kind of cooking that I was having problems with. Yay! And they also provided me with a physical therapist, which was nay, because after maybe a half an hour to an hour of seeing me, this physical therapist said, "You're never going to get better, ever, so just give up. And your only chance is to move to a nursing home." And I said to her, I was like, that sounds like weird. Because first of all, again, she just like met me. She's seen me for maybe a half an hour to an hour. Two, but then also, it's like, I know my body. Listen, when I have a setback, I never get back to fully where I was for the setback. But if I work on things cognitively and physically, I can get things back up to a point close to that point where I was. But she didn't. It was like, la, 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 you need to be in a nursing home. And what happened was I was relying on the social worker to help me find a new apartment that was wheelchair accessible. But what was happening is that instead of her looking for apartments, which I thought she was doing, all she was doing was looking into, because basically the physical therapist, the social worker, and the neurologist I was seeing at the time all agreed I should be in a nursing home. There's no way I can live on my own. Which I'm doing right now and have been doing for years. But spoilers. So I thought she was looking for apartments, and turns out she wasn't. All she was doing was collecting brochures for nursing homes. And I was so upset and so crushed because I really thought like she was going to help me. And I think in her mind she thought she was helping me. But at the same time, well, one, she wasn't. But then two, it's like she wasn't being honest about it. You know, I wish she had said, hey, you know what, I don't think you should be living on your own. I don't think you can do that. I feel comfortable as a social worker finding you your own place, but I'll help you find a nursing home. Instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm looking, and then being like, surprise, nursing home stuff. And I think they were sort of hoping that I'd be like too much in setback mode and too cognitively like sploot to do it on to like find my own place, and then I have no choice but to rely on the nursing home, which is really, really shitty. I also found out from the occupational therapist, and basically he told me that it's kind of common in the industry for some people to push for patients to move to nursing homes, not because that's what's best for them, but because this way, should I fall, but I'm in a nursing home, that physical therapist cannot be held legally responsible. So there's often a push for what's best for the physical therapist and not what's best for the patient. And I was like, wow. And after I heard that, I basically refused any more physical therapy. I said, I'm not going to see her anymore. And actually, at this point, I had been kind of doing my own cognitive exercises and getting to a place where I was able to process things more in real time. I think the fact that I did have a home health aide that was cooking and cleaning for me did give me a chance to kind of rest, but also kind of put my energy towards physically getting stronger. And I did get to the point where barely, and I struggled, and I had to sit back after I moved. Basically, I found my own apartment. And I also found out that they couldn't, because I'm on Medicare, they could not legally force me to a nursing home. My mom was against it. She's like, no, she can live on her own. She just needs like help. And that's a motorized wheelchair and then like the occasional home health aid. That's really what I needed at that time. But the thing is, if I was not on Medicare and I was on Medicaid and I was in need of long-term care, meaning I needed someone to come on a regular basis, they could very well force me into a nursing home, and I wouldn't really have a lot of rights to say no to that. So when my friend Greg came over and we made a video about ADAPT, who is like a really awesome disability rights activist group, one thing he did talk about was the DIA and the Disability Integration Act.
The main focus of ADAPT for roughly the last 30 years, 27 years and change, has been getting people out of institutions and into the community. Mm-hmm. And so one of the ways we've been trying to do that is to push laws recognizing, that people have a right to be in the community. There was a case that came out of the Supreme Court in 1999, Olmstead versus LC, mm-hmm. That was the first time that the Supreme Court recognized that disabled people had a right to live in the most integrated setting appropriate.
But basically what happens is, like, every state that has Medicaid, this is to my understanding, and I hope I'm getting this right, every state that has Medicaid offers long-term care. However, there's two forms of long-term care. There's like community-based or like home-based long-term care, and then there's institution-based long-term care. And what happens is that because the way things are right now, they cannot cut funding for institution-based long-term care. However, Greg was saying that one of the first things to go when there's need to be budget cuts is the community-based long-term care, which means people are being forced and are like forced in the nursing homes and institutions. And who could live at home if given the proper accommodations in nursing long-term care.
Who could live at home instead of a place where they don't get to pick their own meal times, or who gets to visit them, or when they have guests. So DIA is centered around getting people into the community. It basically says that if you are offering long-term supports and services, you must offer them in the community setting. We worked with Senator Schumer and Representative Sensenbrenner to draft, which is the Disability Integration Act, or DIA.
So that's it. That's my story. I wanted to share it. Please take action, and together we can change things, because it doesn't have to be this way. Take care. Bye. Call your senators and tell them to co-sponsor the Disability Integration Act, H.R. 2472. If verbal communication is not an option, you can use ResistBot. Text the word RESIST to 50409 and follow directions. ResistBot turns it into a fax. If you are a group, activist, union, any kind, you can join the list of DIA supporters. Go to disabilityintegrationact.org and then click on support.
Who doesn't want to live in their own home?